Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Row Z podcast. We're back again. We're actually back within a week after recording, which is quite impressive for us these days. Um, Obviously, a big sort of weekend in the Premier League. Arsenal seem to start the bottling train nice and early this season. Yeah, it's hard to say the title race is hotting up a little bit, but we're only a few games into the season. But
Mm.
it is obviously Arsenal losing to Bournemouth is it's a massive result. Arsenal having serious discipline issues. Did they
Yeah,
manage
what's
to
that?
even get a red
Three
card
red
last
cards
season?
in five. I think three and five now.
It's
Um,
something silly like that. I swear they were well disciplined last season, and now yeah they're just
it's weird. It is, and it's like you can't even go like I wouldn't look at any of them and go they were like they're all silly mistakes by the players more
yeah
so than
they're
like
just getting too hot-headed. I think they're
shocking
getting too
decisions.
big for themselves.
Yeah, they're not like oh he's absolutely kicked him in the face like awful tackles. They're all just silly mistakes and very much preventable. Um, but every time they go down to 10 minutes, they drop points. Okay, the City one's a bit of an exception, I think, because it's away at Man City. But I think at Bournemouth, uh, they weren't offering a lot before they lost Saliba anyway. Do you think it was a red card? Are you,
Do
or
you know
how do
what?
you think?
It's gonna make it even worse. I haven't. No, I've seen it. I have seen it. Yes, no, I have. I was gonna say I haven't seen it because no,
Yeah,
it's today, and yes, it is.
yeah. I think yeah. I don't know how they can argue it. He's last man. He's going through on goal. I guess
Absolutely is,
it's
Adam.
simple. Yeah, it's definitely a red card. At least we can agree on that one. That's good. But as you said, it's sort of just their own They're making their own problems. Um, I do think they just struggled to win the game though with 11. Bournemouth have played really well,
But even
offering
then,
up.
though, you would have fancied Arsenal with 11 men to at least
Come
because
away with a point, hold on or something.
extra bit of
Mm.
space with that extra man, extra option. They'd probably. I'll be real. They probably would have won that game had they not.
Yeah, I think they would have scraped it somehow
Like maybe
just
like
because
a
of
1-0 or
defensively
something like that.
solid.
Crossed
Yeah,
hard,
but
something like
like they
that.
struggled to create without Saka and Odegaard, which is understandable.
But
Um,
this is the issue of Arsenal that we haven't seen before. Obviously, we've
mm,
seen them have injuries. We've seen obviously the Saliba injury that kind of almost cost them the title, so to speak. However,
but it
like
did,
the
didn't it?
amount of
Really?
injuries they've got all in one space, it's quite frightening for them. Obviously, you've got Odegaard out. Who else is out? Saka's out.
Mm.
Um,
Fury picked up a knock last night.
uh,
Don't know how long that is. Timber's out for a little bit, I think, as well. And like
yeah,
Tom Atsu.
it is worrying. I don't know. It's a bit of an off season for Arsenal at the minute. I mean, I think they need their players back. They need to get the discipline in order, and then you can start talking to them as title contenders. Because at the minute, I think they're far off it, just
Mm.
in terms of attitude rather than playing ability. Obviously, we know with Arsenal squad, they've got the capability of winning the league.
Yeah,
100%. Anyone who knows football would agree with that. But
yeah.
the minute it's their attitude towards the game that stinks, sort of complacency that they can get away with making these silly errors. They've done it 3 times this season and haven't got away with it every single
Mm.
any of them. So
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's all just happening at the right like the one time, not the right time, but the wrong time for them. But
yeah, it's all coming at once, isn't it? Really.
like, because if they lost Saliba for just one game, Calafiori would fit, and that's why they bought him to be that backup, left back slash backup centre half. So Calafiori come in for Saliba. Okay, it's still a drop off, but
Who would
you
come in
wouldn't
the
know
centre half? He's the centre. He's a
it's.
spaceman.
They've still got Timber and Kyrgios, or they would. Kyrgios will probably be the guy that play. Is it Kyrgios or Kivio? How you say his name? So he'll probably come in, and like you wouldn't have gone. Oh, that's not that. It's a miss, but there's enough quality there. Like
But it's enough
they
there. I mean, who they got next anyway?
us. They got
Uh,
Liverpool
where is it? Is it at
at the
the
Emirates
Emirates?
Sunday. Yeah. Saliba's definitely out. I'd say Calafiori is. I think Odegaard's more than likely out. Saka might be involved. I don't know whether they
Even
will
then,
start Saka.
there's so many ifs and maybes in that. Yeah, I mean, you haven't got your best players. Like if all these players are out, like you say, what is Arsenal starting line going to be? Probably Trossard, Sterling, Trossard and Martinelli,
Yeah,
Sterling.
Havertz, Martinelli,
Havertz.
Sterling, something
What's that
like that.
midfield
Yeah,
going to be like?
probably.
Marino, Jorginho,
No, it'd
Partey,
be a
Rice.
more
Well, no,
yeah,
it's Rice, Partey, and Marino.
Marino, I'd say, yeah.
To
Although
play
they
with,
might start at Ethan and Wright, and then Wright,
yeah,
how I don't know how to say
yeah,
his
and
name.
Maneri.
That's that guy, yeah.
I mean, who else they got?
You got Ben White right back probably.
Yeah,
Gabriel,
Gabriel
Kiwior.
Kivior. Who's playing left back?
Depends on who's fit. Because if I it does
Zinchenko.
look like Calafiori, is Zinchenko fit? Yeah, it'd be someone like him. If Timber's not back,
Yeah, Raya and got.
obviously
I mean,
Ryan
it's not
go.
exactly. You look at that team already, and you like Odegaard, Saka, where are
Mm,
they? Saliba.
that's it.
Um,
Yeah, Saka's definitely. I think Saka's the biggest miss. I think, as I said, defender you
I
can.
think Odegaard is. I think you missed your captain. He's technically so sound as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Odegaard's an exceptional player, but I think they've coped most of the season okay without Odegaard.
have
When
they?
Saka's stepped
I mean,
up, they've
don't get
still
me
been.
wrong. I think what Arsenal are doing is slightly under expectation, if I'm honest. When they've won
Yeah,
games, it's not been as comfortable as
convincing.
what it was
Yeah.
last
Mm.
season. I think there is it's an evident miss that they're missing key players. Yeah, and that needs to be solved, especially Champions League football. They're still in the League Cup, Premier League title race, and
Yeah.
Man City aren't stopping winning. You look at what happened to them at Molineux at the weekend. I mean, 1-0 down, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
Found a way.
found a way.
I think that's the difference. Like when they went down to 10 men Arsenal, it's like it's away at Bournemouth. I understand what they did away at City because it's away at City. It's either there or Anfield. I'll allow teams to sit there and put the other 9 men behind the ball and just sit
Yeah,
in your own box. I can allow that. But away at Bournemouth, like they already had like Partey and Rice are two defensive minded midfielders, let's say.
why they
And
started with that and not El either.
yeah, that's an issue that I think a lot of fans, Arsenal
Because
fans, are moaning about.
you need
But
an
they've
attacking
already
minded
got
midfielder. This is what I'm saying. They're missing
yeah.
out way too much. I think
Mm.
Saka not so much. I think you've got enough wingers,
No, Sterling's not at, yeah.
but I
I
don't
don't
think
know, but they're very defensive, and then they're trying to like win the game against like so they were happy for a point at Bournemouth, but as soon as they went
it's
down
a
to 10,
contested balls team, isn't it? That's what it is.
I think it's just I think they're very emotional. I've always said that about us. I think it's a very emotional team, um,
No, I do agree. I do like
and
that.
I think that's what's costing them a little bit, like that experience. Like they have the experience now, or a couple of years of being in the race, but I think it's just they're still missing a striker. I've said that we've said that since the beginning. But I think it's just that emotional that as soon as things aren't going their way, it's very much like they want it to be like it's them against the world, and it's not like that.
Yeah.
They, um, so I think that's what's cost them. And like you said about City, they just found a way. If Arsenal want to win the league, they need to find a way to get a point against Bournemouth, or at least a point against Bournemouth away with 10 men. You
I
look at
think key
not
point.
to, but when we played away at Newcastle, we somehow won with 10 men. Nunes scored two. Even when we played against Tottenham with 9 men, we nearly got a point from that game. Obviously, by a last minute own goal from Matip, but we still threatened to score. And it's like as soon as Arsenal went down to 10, they didn't even look like scoring.
You're
And
right.
I think it's a bit negative from them, which I'd be a bit annoyed as an Arsenal fan. You're just
Yeah, I think there's got to be some changes going into the weekend for them, definitely.
yeah, but it's a big test because obviously we're now 4 points ahead of them, and City are 3 ahead of them. So if we win, it's what 7 ahead of Arsenal, and that's a big gap already with Arsenal.
Yeah,
Like
especially with like how sort of like the top table teams are performing these days.
that's
Like
the yeah. It's not
7
so
point
much
gap
how
isn't,
yeah.
isn't small anymore. It's a massive gap.
Mm. You think of
Yeah,
them like how much momentum that would give Liverpool, and the opposite to Arsenal.
yeah.
Like you'd sort of be knocking one, not saying that, you're not out the tire race. It's very early to say that, but
It's
momentum
going to be
wise,
difficult though. It's going to be
yeah,
difficult.
because
Uh,
City can then pull away as well and be 6 points clear. Like that's a big gap. Having not played, having still to go to Anfield and like stuff like that, which is not good for them. Obviously, you want to keep that gap as close as possible for as long as possible. Obviously, um. So, but speaking about City, that was a very like ridiculous goal from
then again,
Guardiola.
I know we said that Arsenal haven't been convincing this season. Neither have City.
I don't think
I'm going to
all
say this
three
now, Adam.
haven't.
I don't think any team this season.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not
I think they've all had
even with
games.
Liverpool as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's been games where we just like scrape by, but I think it's a bit like that sort of this phase of the season where
Start of the season, isn't it? I mean,
games just come in thick and
usually we
fast,
see a team like
internationals.
we see a team sort of trounce the smaller sides 5-6-0, and you
Yeah.
start seeing sort of like okay, these not going to be up there. But
Mm.
I'm not really seeing that right now from
It's
anyone.
very, and also all three teams have lost key players. Obviously, with Arsenal losing Odegaard for most of the season, had Saka out. You think City have lost Rodri. You think we've lost Alisson. We've all had players that not maybe affect the way we play, but are all important players that would be starting.
No,
Um,
But we'll
So you
talk,
think that's definitely
I want
had
to
an
talk a bit about, obviously, you guys played Chelsea at the weekend. I didn't actually watch the game at all. I was working, watching Wolfsburg versus Werder Bremen, which was a corker, by the way. Finished 4-2 to Werder Bremen, corker of a game. Did have my money on Wolfsburg to win.
oh,
I think, I mean. But yeah, obviously, Liverpool ran out 2-1 winners in the end. Deserved win, would you say, Adam?
I'd have said just, yeah. I think 2-1 was a fair result. I think
Was it a good game of football, though?
I think it was a really good game for a neutral to watch. I think there was sort of, you had penalties, you had potential red cards, goals. Like, I think it was
How
Chelsea were good. I don't think they'll come
Chelsea were
away
good.
from it too negative. Yeah, I think they look really good. For me, they'd be, I wouldn't say nailed on top four, but I'd be leaning towards them out of anyone to finish in that fourth spot. They look
Oh,
really
even
good.
Villa as well. I think Villa are
Yeah.
still within a
I
shout.
think they just have that more, they have more goals in them than Villa. I think we've seen Villa's peak, as in like you've seen how good they can be. Whereas with Chelsea, because they're so young and like the teams
We still haven't
kind of,
seen the end
I
product.
don't, yeah, it's sort of a bit worrying to see how good Jackson can be, how good a midfielder Vlahovic and Caicedo could become. Palmer had a bit of a quiet day. I think that was more down to how well Curtis Jones played, more so than Cole Palmer. But
Yeah, well, we know the
obviously,
quality of
Reece
the
James
team.
came back for his one game a year, so he'll probably
Did he
be
get
out
injured?
again. No, he actually played, I think, about 65 before he was subbed, I think, 60 minutes or so.
Due to injury.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But no, I mean, I think, yeah, I agree with what you're saying because I'm kind of looking at this. Obviously, I think the top three sort of like, if you talk to every football fan, that's been
Yeah, they're
watching.
fairly set. Depends on what
Right, so
order, obviously,
Liverpool,
but
Man City, and Arsenal is probably that top three. Is that full spot that seems to be still in debate? And I think there's a couple of teams that definitely spring to mind that could make it. Obviously, I think Chelsea massively being one. I've been
mm,
very impressed with them so far
yeah.
this season. I think if you know, and the thing is, like you say, it's only the start of the season. Things will get clicking, and they've actually. I mean, what was the score again between them and Wolves? Is it like 6-2 or 4-2?
6-2, Madueke hat trick, didn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
Well, there we
That's
go.
it.
I think, you know,
When they've
Chelsea.
got so many attacking, like we looked at Arsenal, spoke about Arsenal when they lose Saka, they look quite weak up front. You think of that Chelsea attacking power, like people like João Felix barely even played. I don't think he even played at the weekend. You have Neto, Jackson, Madueke, Palmer, Sancho. Like these lads that all can score goals, all create goals, and
Think
Kunku.
about it.
Like,
Sterling, who you know, still a very good attacker in the Premier League, is off on loan at Arsenal from Chelsea,
mm,
and oh, it's crazy to think. Yeah, I do think. No, I think Chelsea's a fantastic shout for top four this season.
yeah, I
Obviously,
think
there
they
was a
are.
lot of question marks around Enzo Maresca. I think we said this last week, but I think they're doing the exact right things to.
Have to give them time, and
Yeah,
it's showing that. Like
I think
everyone
it's
was quick to
working.
judge because it
I think it
was.
is working. I think it is.
Yeah, 100%. Like
Obviously, I
Lavia and
think
Caicedo look really good together, and I think them, Tottenham and Villa will be one of
I
them will
think
get the fourth spot. I think.
those were my three. I
If
think.
I was to bet, I'd probably go Chelsea, um, because I still think Villa are a couple of injuries away from falling off quite a
Well,
bit.
I'm a betting man, and I'd go Villa
Or
because the
that's
odds will
not.
be good.
Yeah, yeah, probably. But
No, but I think Spurs definitely in a good shot. Obviously, beat a very poor West Ham team.
they're
Uh,
just so hit and miss Spurs. You never
that's
know
the
what you're going to
thing.
get
I
with them.
think we saw them at full flow on Saturday lunchtime against West
Mm.
Ham, and we're thinking if they do this every week, yeah,
But you
top
saw
four.
that first half against Brighton, and then look what happened.
Exactly.
It's so difficult
They,
with them. So up and down.
Spurs just need to stop being Spurs basically and start.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's the issue with them, and obviously Villa. I think. No, I agree with you. I think, but they've again started the season so strongly. Look where they are in the
Very well in Europe
Champions
as
League as
well.
well.
Britain's
Have
up
you seen
through.
where they are in the Champions League? It's top.
The top of the group as it stands,
Top
isn't
of,
it? Yeah.
oh, it's not even the group. It's like
The league thing,
the
yeah, whatever you
league
want to call
itself,
it,
the
yeah.
Champions League itself. They're top. At the
Beating
minute, they
Bayern's
are the
insane.
best team. They are the team to beat in the Champions League.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous how well they do. And I think it shows the standard of the Premier League. Like everyone's quick to go,
And the
okay, my
quality that Aston Villa have. Obviously, you say there
yeah,
are a couple of injuries away. Okay, if Ollie Watkins get injured, who comes on?
it's Duran, but you
John
do,
bloody Duran, mate.
yeah. It's I know what you're saying, but there'll be I don't
They've
know.
got depth. They've got
Defensively,
depth.
like if Martinez got injured, I'm talking like someone like that.
Oh yeah, Robin Olsen comes in, and then you are scratching your head a little.
Yeah, or one of the bit like Pau Torres, who's been really important for them. I know Mings is back, but the level of Mings and Pau Torres is quite drastic. So like McGinn obviously scored last night, but oh no, I'm glad Villa are doing well. And as I said, it shows the quality of the Premier League, and
No,
Definitely.
absolutely, I do agree.
Considering they
But yeah,
finished what fourth and they're top of the Champions League group.
I feel like people are always more inclined to say Villa aren't. You wouldn't back Villa a top four purely
Hmm.
because they haven't been there,
Yeah.
consistently for God knows how many decades. But I feel like we're now coming into an era where they will be. Um,
Hmm.
you
I
know,
think it's almost like people saw it happen with Newcastle. They had 1 year and then they fell off. Whereas everyone sort of goes, "Oh, Villa won't sustain it because look what happened to Newcastle." Whereas when you look at it, they're a lot better than Newcastle in all areas.
in all areas,
Uh,
and I think they've got a better
the
manager.
managers, I think, the biggest difference.
Yeah. Eddie Howe is
But
not an experienced manager in the Champions League in European competitions.
yeah,
Unai Emery is a serial winner in European competitions. And they were very
exactly.
unlucky not to win the Conference League last season. Obviously,
Yeah.
they got to the semis, I think it was, or did they get to
Yes, it was. They got quite far in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they got to the semis in the end. It was either the semis or the final, but I
Mm,
would have known if Villa played the final. But no,
yeah.
got to a semis, obviously got knocked out. But they can get far in European competitions and they're playing. And again, they've invested so heavily in the squad. And
Mm,
well, like just their squad is so bulky of very good level footballers, and under a good manager can be a
yeah.
world class squad. I don't think individual players are necessarily world class. I think you've got a few definitely, like Ollie Watkins. I think is world class. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Day, I mean, Amadou Onana as well.
Good player like Rogers can easily become a great player.
Yeah,
More from
I'm a big
him.
fan of Morgan Rogers. Emi
Yeah.
Buendia.
Martinez, great keeper.
They didn't give Emi Buendia game time. That's the only thing I want.
Yeah. Well, he's only coming back from the injury,
Saying
isn't he? I
that,
think.
I think I did say this many moons ago, probably on my own channel when I used to do that back in the day, probably in 2021. I think
Mm.
I said Norwich, no, sorry, Emi Buendia will be playing Champions League football in 5 years' time after leaving Norwich City.
Oh, I thought you were hopeful of Norwich getting Champions
No,
League.
no, that's 2 years' time from now.
Ah, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
but just that because I knew that was sort of the level. Obviously, he's not playing consistently in the Champions League. He's coming off the bench here,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah,
that
but he did like do his ACL or
yeah,
something,
it was
didn't
out
he,
for the
to be
whole
fair.
of last season, which is so
Yeah.
infuriating because
And Rodgers is playing so well, and
it's
like
he
McGinn
can't
in
drop.
there,
Yeah,
Ramsey, who have
but
been,
still, sort of like
yeah.
a lad from a lad who came
He'll
through,
get
not came
minutes
through the
for
academy,
sure.
but
He'll get
obviously
more minutes. Yeah.
he
Now that
was.
they've won 3 games, they pretty much guaranteed themselves to at least finish in the middle pack to go through, which would have been their first aim.
I mean, I've had a look. I've had a look at their upcoming games in the Champions League. I fancy him in all of them.
They can get top eight. I think they can. Yeah, I think
I
they
think
can.
I think they could top the whole thing. I really do.
Yeah, no,
I
they've
don't, I
got
don't
some
see
very
what,
winnable. It's whether or not they look at it and go, does it matter whether you finish? I don't know how the seeding works off the top of my head, as in the
no,
top
no,
eight.
but I think that's sort of
Or
like
it depends on
that's
fixtures in the Prem
accolade.
around it, because it'll be
How,
Christmas
how
and
many
stuff.
teams are in this Champions League format?
Is it 32 or 34?
All right, so we're in the 30s.
Yeah.
They will be the best team in Europe out of those 30 teams. Imagine being
Well, as
that.
it stands, you've got some
Yeah,
teams
yeah,
to
no,
play
but
to, like,
even
yeah.
then, I think that's for
Oh,
a
yeah,
club like
it's
Villa,
very
that's
interesting.
striving for that would be
You
fantastic.
think from a few years, ironically, from all this, if that goal against Sheffield counted, they'd have been, who knows what it could have been. That's what's the
We could be
weirdest thing about
languishing in League One. We'd never know. We'd never
Yeah,
know.
exactly. It's
It's crazy. Yeah,
wouldn't.
no, crazy to think. Small differences, eh? And we spoke about it last week. It was like a bit of deja vu. We'll go to
Mm.
the bottom of the Premier League for just a couple of moments, Adam. I definitely want to talk about the bottom of the Premier League. Really want to talk about it, and
Mm.
I want to just admit my love to Iliman Ndiaye um, of Everton.
Yeah, he's helped him definitely. Him and McNeil, I think, has massively helped him. Braithwaite
uh,
coming back as well.
Against Ipswich. That
Yeah,
beautiful 2-0 win.
yeah,
God, Ipswich still without a win, by the way. And I fucking hate football fans for this. Yeah. Right. So when Ipswich got promoted, they spent a shit ton of money on championship quality players. What were
yeah,
the fans saying? Oh, do you know what? I fancy Ipswich to stay up. They've spent money on what? Sammy fucking Schmodix, who was playing League One football 3 years ago.
yeah. They bought all the best championship and players, so when they go down, they'll do well. That's what they've done. Yeah,
But even then, like I just don't see the hype. I think the only player for them that I kind of really like the look of is Liam Delap. I think he's actually been a fantastic signing. I think out of
he'll get a
anyone,
move. He'll get a move. I think
he'll get
someone
a
will
move
buy
at the end of
him.
the season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
a good backup striker like a Tottenham or someone like that will probably make a move, or
yeah.
someone Palace or
But he's
someone.
young as well. He's quick. He's powerful. Scores goals. Like it.
Mm.
But
Well, is he on loan from City or did they
no,
buy
no.
him from?
Signed for about 20 million, I think. which
Oh,
is a
okay.
ridiculous fee. But I mean, Amari
Oh,
Hutchinson's done nothing. Jacob
yeah.
Graves started okay, doesn't look great. Darrow O'Shea, absolutely same as him. Jack Clark's done nothing. Sammy
Mm.
Schmodic's done nothing. Calvin Phillips, the amount of Ipswich fans I'm seeing having a meltdown on Twitter about Calvin Phillips is beyond
He
me.
even played much. I don't watch
He
much.
starts. He starts
Oh,
alongside
no.
Sam Morsey, who how he's managed to play in the Premier League, I will never know.
You
Because
got
he
them Wolves, Southampton. Is there someone else who hasn't won a game, or just them the three?
no,
I
there was
think it
one
might
more.
be the three of them, because then you're looking at like
Palace. No,
they not won a game.
no, no, there was more. There was four. There was four. Where
Ipswich,
did you see it? I think I
Southampton,
saw it in the same place that you did.
Leicester have won a game.
Yeah,
I,
Leicester have done well.
yeah,
I want to
I
see
know Wolves, Southampton, and Ipswich. And if there is one more, be interesting to see who it is.
Palace. It is Palace. It is
Wait,
Palace.
have they not won a game?
Yeah, yeah. Three
Wow.
draws, five losses. Um, but however, I
Jeez.
do back Palace to turn it around on the Glasner. I do
And
hope.
Wolves. I bet Wolves will as
Yeah.
well. Still
But
think
Southampton and Ipswich, I think, are
they're
dead.
gone. Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone already.
I
Uh,
actually don't know who's because you got teams like West Ham down there with Everton, and it's hard. Like you had West Ham finish top, was it top five?
right. However,
I
Adam, we
told
are
you
saying
this. I
these
told you
teams are
this.
done and dusted. We are, what, how many Premier League games in? We're not even double figures, are we?
Yeah, but look at West Ham. They're not finishing top six or seven. I'd be so confident in saying that and looking at them.
Yeah, and
Like
looking at them now, I think I need to get rid of Lopetegui.
Kudus is out for 3 games after his rampage. I said after the weekend, smacking everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, interesting. We've got a big weekend of Premier League football coming up. Big weekend of Championship football as well. The Sunday 3 o'clock kickoff, Norwich versus Middlesbrough at Carrow Road.
Oh,
Big
a
one.
Road, the Fortress.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've just seen.
Jack
Uh,
Wilshere will be there, won't he?
well, he is now announced. He is now announced under 18. No, well, from Arsenal under 18s as a coach.
Oh,
He's now our first team coach. So,
first. Oh, so okay,
working
okay.
alongside Johannes Hoff-Vorp,
One of
which
the
I'm really
assistants.
excited about.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, way things are going this season, it's going okay. We've just got a very shit second choice goalkeeper called George Long. I don't know, Adam, if you take some time just to see the highlights versus Stoke and the highlights versus Preston last night, and just see where we've lost points, it's purely down to the goalkeeper. He's
George Long.
woeful. Um,
George Long won't be in the Prem anytime soon.
no, I mean, we'd need a backup somehow. He got his contract renewed. I'll never
Where's
know.
your first choice keeper? Is he injured? I take it.
Yeah, Angus Gunn's injured at the minute.
Oh, big Angus. No, that's poor.
Angus, no.
Yeah.
I think he's expected to be back in the next couple of weeks anyway. So as long as we can, I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if our third choice keeper Archie Mayer goes in, who famously won a penalty shootout, I believe, with Notts County at Wembley not too long ago to get Notts County to the Football League. There's a little bit of
That's what you want. That's what you
football
want.
knowledge for you.
Get rid of Long. Get him in
Yeah, exactly. But we're just longing it out at the minute. See what
to
it is.
prevent yourself from having a mare.
Oh, I like it. I like it. This is wordplay. This is what we do to fill up podcasts now. There's nothing to talk about. Did you watch the Real Madrid Borussia Dortmund game last night?
I did actually, yeah, because I had a bet on it.
Cracking game of
But,
football. I switched the
yeah.
Norwich game off after going 2-0 down, I'll be honest. I was
Well,
like,
I kind of knew when they went 2-0 down, this is Madrid, not not
yeah,
not.
this is the thing.
I still
You,
thought
you
they'd
you
win it.
can't
I
write
was
them
like,
off. I think,
yeah,
I
and
think, I
then
think the big
Vinny
question
just turned it on.
I mean, yeah, but the Ballon d'Or is coming up soon.
It's next week, isn't it? I didn't realize it's
Yeah,
that soon.
Vinny
It's not been
Jr. is
released by
looking like the front
Fabrizio yet.
runner. And I
Yeah,
think, if he wasn't the front runner already, his performance last
I
night.
think he is meant to win it. Yeah, it's
I
probably
think that
going to.
performance last night has definitely solidified it. And yeah,
It just, yeah, I think
player.
watching in the first half or up until I think one of the goals, I do worry about him a little bit when it comes to like
His
better
attitude,
opposition because it does struggle. No, Madrid.
attitude as well. Oh, well, Madrid, I
I
thought
think
meant
I
Vinny's
think
attitude.
like because we get that as one problem, but the front three just doesn't work. It doesn't click as well as it should.
Mbappe, Vinny, and
Because
Rodrigo.
Vinny and Mbappe constantly each other's space a little bit. I think, and Jude wants to be in there, and like I think Rodrigo's the only one who sort of knows his role and knows what he's doing. I
Because
think
Mbappe's not
Mbappe.
really a striker, is he? He's more of a
Yeah, I really don't like him through the middle. He seems so pointless there. Like
who have they got that can play through the middle?
they got rid of Hosselu. They just have him and Endrick.
Hendrick's not really a striker either. I haven't
He's
ever.
a striker, but he's like 17. You can't be throwing him in there. Like
Well,
when you got Mbappe's probably got so many clauses in his contract that he can't be dropped.
Yeah,
isn't
no,
he? Like like so that's the thing. I think they needed a Haaland more a natural nine than
the Mbappe
what yeah, which I mean it
forward.
might click, but
Yeah,
for
no.
me
I
they
mean,
seem
again,
too similar and they
got
both want to be the man. And it's like Vinny reminded everyone that it's his team, not Mbappe's team or Jude's team or whatever. But definitely don't. We've got them in a few. I think next month in the Champions League at Anfield. So it'll be interesting to see that. But
would be, yeah.
when Nunez shows them levels, I will
That's it. A proper number nine. A
yeah,
proper number
exactly.
nine.
Yeah,
I wish I could come in Norwich and just Sargent teaches them a few lessons. Or
yeah. He'd
Ashley
probably
Barnes.
bag a few against them. To
Or
be
Ashley
fair.
Barnes. Or
Mm.
get them to watch a bit of Sydney Van Hooijdonk compilations. But yeah, never know. But anyway, that is the end of the Rose Ed podcast. I don't know what episode we're on. We're on season two though. That's we're not.
Season two, yeah, it's like a series. Yeah,
But I think this is the longest I've kept going a podcast, Adam. So yeah, we're doing well. But yeah, but we'll
series
see
two.
you
Yeah.
guys next. Well, hopefully next week.
After
Yeah,
Liverpool beat Arsenal away
yeah, should be next week.
2-1.
Should be next week. But we'll see you guys later.